when the earliest Europeans arrived, they found that southeastern tribes, they were already hosting purple martins in their villages in hollowed out gourds. I read a paper where, and I didn't even know that these big gourds were old world, but I think it's like 10,000 years ago, is where they've traced some of the earliest gourds to arriving in North America. Did they come across the Bering Strait, or did they float across? It's not really known. But this practice of erecting gourds for purple martins, it could go back thousands of years. And so people ask, well, why did the Native Americans want them in their villages? Well, they could have recognized the insect control. You could just imagine drying meat out in the open air. Flies were probably a problem. So they might have just appreciated the marten for that. But also, like when strangers come onto my lot, my martins react differently than when I'm out there. And so they could have been a warning system for raids by other tribes or maybe large predators. So, either one of those could be the case. But once the early Europeans arrived, martins rapidly took to nesting in nooks and crannies in their buildings and structures, and actually got quite common. But when the European starling and the house sparrow arrived, the starling was released in Central Park by a man that wanted to see every bird that was in his native area in Europe. He wanted to see them in the U.S. And usually they were birds that were mentioned by Shakespeare. There's a connection to Shakespeare writings. And so that's how the starling got here. House sparrows were brought over for other reasons, but they quickly competed with native cavity nesters. And by 1900, most martins were nesting in managed bird housing versus in buildings or anything like that. But the purple martin is very adaptable. I have seen them, in broken street lights on occasion. It's very rare. I can't stress enough how rare it is to find them like this. But I went down to the eastern part of the Trans-Pecos and found them nesting at a swimming pool underneath the canopy of a picnic table, not in a cavity, but on a shelf underneath there, which gives them a competitive advantage over house sparrows and starlings. But these kind of nesting in man-made structures other than birdhouses are usually short-lived. We tend to want to repair things that are broken, and sometimes they just don't want birds nesting in situations like that because of the mess, and real or perceived mess. But yeah, today they're pretty much in birdhouses. I can report a study that I'm involved with that involves Texas Tech and Mississippi State, where marten houses have been put in working forests in Clearcuts to see if we can lure the marten back into the woods, basically. And I can report that in the first year of that study, martens occupied some of those gourd racks. And so the objective is to keep moving them closer and closer to mature forests that would have cavities and see if some of them might revert back.